good morning and welcome. Happy Friday, Patriot Radio News Hour. A gorgeous, gorgeous day. You know what? Get ready for me to say that for the next, 5 or 6 months. Another gorgeous day here in the Valley of the Sun. It is Friday, so congratulations. We've all made it to the end of the week and another wild and crazy week. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about. It's Fake News Friday as well. Got jobs numbers, wage numbers, trade deal, no trade deal. What else? Silver. You know what? It may be time. Well, I told you yesterday. Now, I didn't know this. I'll be in fairness. I didn't know what I know today yesterday. But get ready. I guess maybe it was Wednesday. The Silver Spectacular sale. All you silver bugs. At the halfway point, we're going to talk about, is there a silver deficit? So you're not going to want to miss that as well. High school football playoffs are going. My son's team is they're the 3 seed this year. Got a home playoff game tonight, so we're excited about that. Got all kinds of things going on. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. The website at allamericangold.com. A quick reminder. I think Sunday night, Monday morning, the clocks change. And we live in Arizona, so, we're quite honestly, we're the only ones that do it right, which is we don't change the clocks. And I wish that everybody would just go to that. Enough already, right? I think they set that up back for an agricultural reason. I don't know, don't want to know. But on Monday, for those of you that listen to us live in Colorado, we'll be on at 9. So right now, Arizona and California are on the same time, and Colorado's an hour ahead. Starting on Monday, Colorado and Arizona will be on the same time, and California will be an hour behind. So just a note, starting Monday, we'll be on at 9 a.m. in Colorado. Right now we're on at 10 a.m. We're on live at 9 a.m. Arizona time, 10 o'clock Colorado time on Monday. Both shows be on at 9. So Arizona, just do your thing, right? That's the great. Hey, just do your thing. Everybody else, that's what's going on. Wanted to at least bring that up this morning. I'll tell you what I have. There's this place on Deer Valley, and they make these breakfast burritos, and I sure like them. And let's just say, you know what? They don't agree with me, but they taste so good, right? You know those. I don't know why I'm telling you this. I had one this morning. That's why I'm telling you. I know why I'm telling you. So, but they're so good, and I'm like, you know what? It's Friday. I'm going to do it to myself anyway. So if there's a long pause, it's because of a long, and you're like, wow, that's a weird place to pause. It's probably just the breakfast burrito here on a Friday. 800-951-0592. Arlene's looking at me. Yeah. Ajita, there you go. That's the word I'm looking for. We had the jobs, the government jobs number out. We had wages out, and it was good. Unfortunately, and I know I want it to be good. I do, but it's not. The headlines aren't what they appear, and I hate to say that, but it's true. But if you took I don't even know what month it was, last month's jobs and this month's jobs, so September and October, and you combine the two. By the way, the number I probably should tell you the number: 250,000 jobs. But last month they lowered really low number last month. They lowered it even farther. 118 last month. So if you combine the two, it came out to like 180 something. Which is what the number they always say the number is. So when you combine the 2 months, it washed out in the wash. They maybe there was some hurricane stuff. I don't know, but either way, and then the wage thing, right? They're all happy about. Oh, look at this great wage number. I mean, everybody's just raking it in. I hate this. And again, it's good. Yeah, I think there was 3% wage growth year over year. Unfortunately, that didn't really mean you made 3% more. It had to do with, believe it or not, some seasonality. It was a paper 3%. I don't know how that works, right? And again, why can't we just use real data? I mean, I get it. I got it. Like way back when in the olden days, you know, the 70s and the 80s and the 90s before computers, that, you know, people had to do it by hand. So I got that, hey, you know, we're going to have to kind of take a swag at it, you know, and then later we'll get you a better number. That made sense. We got computers now. They can do a kabillion transactions a second. We don't need to seasonally adjust stuff anymore. We don't need to. But anyway, so yes, you know, and here's the funny part. And I thought it was odd because for the last few days I've been hearing them talk about this wage number. Like they already knew it was going to be a good number. And I couldn't figure it out. And then today someone let the cat out of the bag that, well, here's why we all knew, because we knew that there was this big adjustment and something about the calendar and the seasonality thing, and I immediately lost interest. But nonetheless, that was the big economic data of the day. The president kind of led us to believe that maybe the Chinese, that there's going to be a break in the trade war with China, and then they kind of walked it back. I don't know, but I do know this. Yeah, I hope that we don't, but I think we will. We're going to have to soften our stance because China's not going to do anything. You know, and I've been saying that for a long time. Neither here nor there. Dow's down 150 points. Gold and silver are mixed. Fake News Friday when we return.
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong. Can you tell which thing is not like the others? Before I finish my song.
From news headquarters, this is
Fake
News
Friday.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
What is real? How do you define real?
Fake News Friday.
Fake.
Fake News Friday. I will say this. So if you don't know how it works, very simply, Jason joins us. Of course, Jason, who does our afternoon show in Colorado, and me and him, we try to determine all the stories we do are actually all real, which is, and part of it, when we tell you them, you would think that all of them should be fake, but they're not. And then what we do is our buddy Glenn, he actually the professor takes one of the real stories and then puts something in it that is fake, and then me and Jason got to figure out which one of them that there is. We may make some changes to this segment. It's getting a little long. I got an email from Brooke. She's concerned about Jason's mental health because he never wins, and kind of asked me if I'd throw him a bone. And we'll see. I don't know. But, Jason, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. And I did want to add one thing. For the Colorado listeners, just a reminder, the time change is happening, and Joe's show is not going to be at 10 a.m. in Colorado. It's going to be at 9 a.m., so make sure to remember that on Monday.
Right, but your show doesn't move.
We'll stay at 3 o'clock here, and for anybody in Arizona who wants to stream us in, that'll be 2 p.m. your time in Arizona.
So the clock change doesn't affect, no, it would be 3 o'clock. Your show will move for the Arizona people because now we'll be on at 3 o'clock here as well, correct?
Yes, yeah, that's correct. You're right.
Yeah, okay. See, that's why I win the fake news stuff too.
That actually sounds like the first fake news story because
right, so I'm already up 1-0.
Yeah, I don't understand anything you just said right now.
All right. All right, Ramon, we're ready.
Let the games begin. Story number one, Barbara Streisand said in an interview that if the Democrats don't at least win back the House next week's election. She's considering moving to Canada. Well, we've heard that one before.
We got to get that out there.
Yeah. But does Canada want her? That's the other.
All these people, they're all liars. All those liberals. This is like the 80th person to threaten to leave. They never leave.
People needing people. Isn't that what she sang before? They're most wonderful people in the world.
No, I won't say it. I'm not good at it. My wife has told me a multitude of times.
No singing, at least on the air. She said she wants to sleep at night, and if we take the house, I'll be able to sleep a little bit better. I've been thinking about it. I don't want to move to Canada. I don't know. I'm just saddened by this thing happening to our country. That's Barbara Streisand. Story number one. Story number two, Barack and Michelle Obama are working on an anti-Trump Netflix show. The new show will be, they're going to show the Obamas as the heroes and the incoming Trump administration as bumbling rookies. The Obamas have acquired the rights to adapt Michael Lewis's book, The Fifth Risk, as a part of their overall deal with Netflix. Lewis's book describes the disorder with the Department of Agriculture, Department of Energy, Department of Commerce that took place during the transition between the Obama administration and the Trump administration. Many of the new president's appointees were completely unprepared for their jobs, and some roles weren't filled at all. As the book describes, the possible series adaptation would then be intended to help people better understand the inner workings of the government. Good luck on that. Story number three is called, I bought used voting machines on eBay for $100 a piece. What I found was alarming. Now, this was written by Anonymous in Wired magazine. The aim in purchasing voting machines was not to undermine our democracy. I'm a security researcher who started buying machines as part of an ongoing effort to identify their vulnerabilities, strengthen the election security. What he did was I reverse engineered the machines to understand how they could be manipulated. After removing the internal hard drive, I was able to access the file structure and operating system. Since the machines were not wiped after they were used in the 2012 presidential election, I got a great deal of insight in how the machines store the votes and where they were cast on the machine. Within hours, I was able to change the candidates' names to be that of anyone I wanted. He also said, I was able to convince the local election board that this machine was sent out for repair, and I was returning it for use in the 2018 midterm elections at my local precinct. I pre-programmed the machine not only to register one gubernatorial candidate, no matter which one was chosen, on the ballot. I can't wait to see the results in my local election. So that's story number three. And let's see. Let's give Jason a shot here.
Well, these three stories, I mean, what a sad state of affairs our country's in. Barbara Streisand, I'm a heavy metal fan myself. I don't want to hear her politics, and I really don't want to hear her singing at all. The Obama thing, I believe that to be true, but with Glenn changing things up, I think the election rigging machines is true too. So this is a hard one for me, but I think the adjustment is in the Obama story. I'm going to say that that's the fake one, number two.
All right, story number two. All right, Joe, let's hear a little Barbara Streisand singing. Let's go.
Well, let's just say this.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Jason 1,000% with Barbara Streisand. Mm-hmm. And again, you know what? Stick to acting and singing. Apparently, people have told me she's good at those things. So, yes, like all the other singer actors out there, they all threaten to move to Canada. They never do, but I believe she'd say that. I actually believe the whole Obama thing, too. And again, I'm not sure what everyone's that upset about.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the fact that, I mean, the economy is better. I could get it. If people were like, this is ridiculous, all the deficit spending and all the, all that, I could get that part. I'm not sure about anything else, but I actually believe that. And the voting machine thing, obviously, I think, and again, like I said in the prior to the segment beginning, all of these are true. It's just a detail that isn't. And for me, I think that there's some fake detail in the voting machine story, so I'm going to say it's that one.
All right, so Joe, you say story number 3, the voting machines. Well, Joe, you are correct, sir.
Is anybody surprised?
The actual part of the story is true right up to the point where he returned the machine
Bingo.
into the midterm elections. He did not do that. That was a little add-on.
Actually, you know what? That was the reason why I thought it was going to be that one. I just didn't say it this time, but I'll declare it next time.
Let us into the to the mind of Joe and your deductive reasonings.
No one wants to be in there. My wife has told me this a lot of times.
Well, you know what? I was also sent a clip about that as well. Hold on one moment. Here is
one of those electronic voting dealies.
1 vote for McCain. Thank you.
No, I want to vote for Obama.
2 votes for McCain.
Come on, it's time for a change.
3 votes for McCain.
No.
6 votes for President McCain.
Hey, I only meant one of those votes for McCain. This machine is rigged.
Thank you, Glenn, for sending that on down the road there.
Jason, by the way, I made up the part about Brooke calling me about your mental health.
Well,
she actually knows that you're a whack job anyway, and apparently you're used to losing to her and Jack at family game night, and so this is just an extension of that.
Let's get back to work here, shall we?
I'm ready.
Story number 1 for round number 2. Well, over half of the world's population of fish to birds to mammals have been wiped out in the past 4 decades, says a new report from World Wildlife Fund. Between 1970 and 2014, there were 60% decline on average among 16,000 wildlife populations from around the world, according to a 2018 edition of the Living Planet report released Monday. We've had a loss of nearly 2/3 on average of our wild species, and the magnitude of that should be eye-opening, and we are reaching the point where we are likely to see species go extinct. Now, it was blamed on large areas of plastic waste in the world's oceans, radiation from nuclear reactors, and governments using chemical trails to manipulate the weather in some parts of the world for the decline of global species. Okay, story number 2. A peculiar cloud has been spotted on Mars and is currently believed that it is made of water, ice, and is part of a seasonal pattern of clouds that appear around this time every year. According to a press release, the cloud's appearance varies throughout the Martian. It's on Mars, growing length through the local morning downwind of the volcano. So there's a big cloud on Mars, and apparently it's been photographed, and it's 1,500 kilometers. So that's quite a cloud. Not a haboob by any way, shape, or form, but doggone. Story number 3. Sears once offered mail-order tombstones in 1906. The company had a specialized tombstones and monuments mailer advertising a catalog of memorial art in granite and marble. Sears prices beat out the traditional funeral parlors and allowed customers to participate in the elite practice of custom ordering grave markers, and they would go directly from the quarry to the cemetery. The prices were as low as $8.60. So there we go. I had story number 1. All kinds of birds and things are getting wiped out because of apparently plastic straws from Starbucks. Story number 2, big fat cloud on Mars. And number 3, Sears at one time offered tombstones. All right,
Sears would have stayed in that business.
Yeah.
They probably could still be in business.
Now they're making their own tombstone.
You know what? I'm going to go with story number 1.
All right.
And I have no great commentary because I know we're pressed for time, but story number 1.
All right. And now, Jason.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go with. So if I would have guessed first, I would have done 1. There was a little bit at the end with the chemtrails. I'm guessing that's the add-on. So I think number 1's the fake one. Plus, I don't believe those numbers anyways.
Let's see. You have story number 1 as well. You both are correct on this one, but that makes Joe the winner. Yeah, that story number one is true up to the point where blaming the ocean on plastics and nuclear radiation and so forth and so on, and Chernobyl and Starbucks plastic straws.
Gotcha.
Was that your reasoning, Joe?
Yeah, well, you know what? There was a lot of detail to that one, and so I'm figuring, okay, that was the and I'm like Jason, it's yeah, plastic straws are the enemy, and chemtrails and all that other stuff. So, once again, though, the real story here is that I've won again.
You have indeed, sir. You've won again.
So just like game night at Jason's house, he is the loser. I am the winner. Jason, I guess, thank you for playing. There are no parting gifts. When we get back, we're going to get to it. We got all you silver guys out there, the next two segments are for you. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, the conservative pro-family broadcast of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, a leading voice for the sanctity of life, traditional education, the Constitution, and American sovereignty. And now, from the archives of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, here is Phyllis Schlafly.
Judicial activism has run amok, and judges are now legislating from the bench, completely without accountability or consequences. Republicans must look for guidance to the roots of our party 160 years ago, when it rose from obscurity by criticizing the judicial activism of the infamous Dred Scott decision. Abraham Lincoln was a political loser until he started hammering the popular Stephen Douglas about that ruling, which tried to extend a pro-slavery view nationwide. Stephen Douglas was a skilled attorney and orator. He tried to seek a middle ground between the pro-slavery federal court system and a populace that was increasingly fed up with judicial supremacy. Douglas finally lost his credibility when he could not give coherent answers to questions posed by Lincoln in Freeport, Illinois, about what the full import of the Dred Scott decision would be. When one branch of government oversteps its power, the remedy under our Constitution is for the other branches of government to push back or refuse to comply, as many presidents and Congresses have done throughout our history. In his first inaugural address, Abraham Lincoln repudiated the Dred Scott decision as wrong and declared that it was not binding on the other branches of government or on anyone who was not a party to that case. The Republican Party platform of 1860 objected to how Democrats were imposing their agenda through the use of the federal courts in matters of a purely local interest. By standing up against the abuse of power by federal courts, Republicans quickly became the majority party. Conservatives must take a lesson from our forefathers if we are to successfully battle this wave of judicial supremacy by the federal courts. We need legislators with solid backbones to hold these power-grabbing judges in line.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. Can activist judges be stopped, or will they continue to overturn laws with no regard for the Constitution or the will of the people? Connect with us at phyllisschlafly.com to hear alerts on rulings made by never-elected supremacist judges and to share your viewpoint. That's phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening, and join us again for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. We've talked a lot about my least favorite metal. And I make no bones about it. I'm not a silver guy. Now, having said that, everyone's got to have some. Because, I'm hoping everything is orderly, right? We would like an orderly transition from the Federal Reserve note to whatever this new currency is going to be, and speculate in some form of an electronic Fed credit, right? And getting rid of cash and all that stuff. And here's the thing. I used to believe that this was something, 20, 30, 40 years from now. I think we got in the next 10. because these debts, I know how to do math. Do yourself a favor. Be prepared. That's all I'm going to say. Be a Boy Scout. Be prepared. Now, we've talked a lot about how silver is underperformed. Remember the Halloween story? Silver's the little brother, and it wandered away. It got away from Big Brother and was walking behind, and somebody jumped out of the ditch and stole its Halloween candy. And when you're talking about silver, I told everybody on Halloween, 2019 is going to be the year of silver. Gold's going to do real well, too, but silver's going to do even better. There was a great interview done talking about where are we with silver supply. I know, and I follow this closely, miners have been shutting down, miners have been laying off, and that silver production was going to essentially be the cause of what is going to drive that silver price back up. There was a great interview with Kitco. Ramon, let's start playing it.
It's one of the longest ongoing debates in the precious metals industry. Is there a deficit of silver or not? My guest today is Keith Neumeyer. He is the CEO of First Majestic, and he joins me on the sidelines of the San Francisco Silver and Gold Summit. How fitting to talk about this with you here today. Keith, welcome back to the show.
Well, thanks, Danielle, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, well, so am I, because I have had guests on both sides of this debate.
Many of which I've seen.
Are we in a silver deficit or not? I'm pretty sure I know where you sit on this, but how do you see it? Are we in a silver crunch?
You know, a crunch, I'm not sure. But I think from a supply-demand fundamental basis, we're in a very unique place in the marketplace. And don't forget, First Majestic is a member of the Silver Institute, and the Silver Institute does publish annual numbers, and these annual numbers show that the miners, globally, all miners produced 800 million ounces of silver in 2017, and the same report shows that there's 1 billion ounces of consumption. So that tells me there's a 200 million ounce deficit. I'm not sure why people would argue against that. But what the analysts do, because you can't technically have a deficit, so the silver has to come from somewhere. So they plug it in and they make up numbers. So no one knows how much silver is being recycled. No one knows how much silver is going through the refineries, because you talk to a refinery and they keep this information very, very tight. And they won't tell you how much gold or silver they're refining because they don't talk about it.
But as a producer, you're obviously seeing numbers from your own company. So from what you're seeing, you're making this assessment.
Right. And we've never had a problem selling silver at any price, whatever the world market for the silver is. But just based on the numbers, supply-demand, it shows quite clearly that there is a deficit.
So I guess if I had to play the role of, debating this from the other side, people would say, well, 70% of silver is mined as a byproduct of base metals.
Yeah, for sure. But what's that got to do with anything?
Well, arguing the fact that there's no shortage of silver.
But it's still counted. That 800 million ounces of world production is from those mines. Our production, even though it's a pure, much more pure company, most of the silver or the revenue comes from the price of silver, but it's all counted. It does. So I don't quite.
So one of the things. So there was a big silver surplus. There was, and according to First Majestic, who is on, they sit on the council that tracks all mine supply, and one of the things of and people that are uneducated on this, there's other mines out there that produce gold, or they produce platinum or copper, and they got silver as a byproduct. First Majestic's like, actually pretty much the vast majority of mines in the world have a byproduct. The vast majority, not all of them, but the vast majority of them do. And it's simply what he's saying is all that's counted. All the silver mined, all of it, 800 million ounces. Right? There was a huge shortfall between what demand was and what the supply was coming out of the mine. Now, is there scrap silver out there? Sure. But to his point, nobody, right? They just are guessing at what that number is and where all this other silver is. But this is I will tell you right now, this was a huge change in the supply picture of silver from where it was 2 years ago to today. 2 years ago, we were the supply from the mines was exceeding demand. So we've come a long way. Ramon, go ahead and keep playing.
Understand the argument.
How about when people talk about, do you think that there's confusion when people talk about when we see a silver crunch on physical metal? I think there has to be a differentiation there, right? Like when we are seeing a deficit on, coins and bars versus silver that's mined.
Yeah, that's a totally different argument. There's only so many mints around the world, and they only have capacity for so much production of silver coins for investment purposes. The investment industry for silver is actually quite small. It fluctuates between 10 and 15% of the market. So in an 800 million ounce market, it's not a lot of ounces. The solar panel industry consumed 90 million ounces of silver in 2017, which is more than what the investment demand was.
So here's the big question. So if we are in a silver deficit, why isn't the price higher?
It's all sentiment driven. The whole move in 2016 that we saw was all headline driven, all rate driven. The move we're seeing now, the negative move over the last few months, has got to do with the slowing of China. There's shorting the EM markets. So this trade that all the hedge funds have on right now is buying U.S. equities, buying the U.S. dollar, and anything on the other side of that trade is the metals, of course, and the miners and emerging markets. So that's a trade.
We're coming up on the break, so we'll pick it up on the other side. We'll have some comments about the trade. What's the trade going to be for 2019, which is really going to be what we're going to be looking for. That's all coming up next. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. So First Majestic CEO. And again, First Majestic is a very important player in silver because their mines are silver mines. And do they have some byproduct? Yes. But what they do is silver. Versus a lot of the other guys out there who, hey, we do copper, but we get silver with it, or we do gold and we get silver with it. These guys are a major silver player. So first, he says, hey, listen, I'm not calling it a crunch, at least not yet. But there is no doubt there is now a supply deficit in silver. Then they said, why hasn't the price rose? Why hasn't it risen? And, of course, he said this is all headline-driven, right? We've had this big dollar rally. We've talked about it here, right? And so everything that's the opposite of that and precious metals falls into that has gotten hit. But don't count on that to last. Then he talked about silver investment demand and says, hey, it goes up, it goes down. But that's not a real big piece of actual silver consumption. And remember, we talk about this a lot. Silver is an industrial metal. Yes, it has monetary qualities with it, but it's primarily used in industry. Like he said, hey, solar panels alone is way more than the investment of silver coins. But let's finish with, because he makes some other startling revelations of why I think silver's going to be well positioned going into next year. Ramon, let's finish with First Majestic.
Keith, this debate has really been going on probably since 1998. So why do you think there even is a debate? Do you think there's something bigger behind it, is what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the nail on the head right there. Why? Because people are trying to look for a reason why silver is trading where it's trading. Because all the fundamentals would show that silver should be trading a much higher price than it is currently today, but it's not. So people conclude, well, it's not. There must be a lot of silver around. And it's the wrong conclusion.
Some well-known, I guess, experts in our industry coming out with very bearish forecasts for silver. Marion Cantuza earlier saying he could, he's not ruling out $10 silver. So as a silver producer, as the CEO of a major silver company, how do you maintain optimism through these times?
Well, I've had a thesis on silver, going back to when I put the company together. And silver's not really that bad priced right now. It's $15 thereabouts. It's not great. We are struggling, or at least a couple of our mines, but we've got 2 mines that are spinning off a ton of cash right now. So we're okay. Of course, I'd like $20 silver or higher, and for every dollar silver for us is $30 million in revenue. So it's a big number for us. So no, we have to be very nimble in our decision making. We're doing, unfortunately, some layoffs right now. We're doing some cutbacks right now. We came into 2018 with $18 silver, and no one would have thought that we'd be at $14.50 right now. So we just have to be very nimble and wait for better times, and they'll come.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll turn around soon. As we know, when silver moves, it moves very quickly.
So I wanted to really highlight what he said. They've got 2 mines that can make money at $14.50, but that's it. And did you hear the other part? We're still laying off. In other words, the supply side, and it's not just First Majestic. This is going to be all the major silver. They're still laying off, which means the mine supply, again, is going to continue to head down. Well, we're already in a silver deficit. So I think all of these things, and he went on and he talked about the rest of it. He talked about the ratio of 85 ounces and how that never lasts and all of these other things. But I think what you get the gist. 2 years ago, yes, there was a surplus. That surplus is gone. Anything that they're being made up today, right, has come out of some stuff that had been previously mined, and that's running out. And look for the mine supply to head even lower. We're still laying off. We've only got 2 mines that can actually make money at $14.50. So we're looking for a much higher silver price. Matter of fact, silver's actually up again today, right at between $14.75, $14.80. We've been stockpiling silver. I've been stockpiling it for the last couple of weeks. I just got late yesterday afternoon, another couple of cases that I'd bought in somewhere else finally landed here. So now I've got backdate Silver Eagles. I've got some in Colorado. I've got some here. Matter of fact, we probably got 3 to 4 cases today, which is the most we've had in a long time. Backdate Silver Eagles, $360 a roll. And like I said, we got almost 4 cases. We're like 1 roll short of 4 cases of silver. So that's what, about 99 rolls of backdate silver. Listen, jump on it. He talked about, hey, we started the year at about $18 silver. Nobody in the silver mining industry could imagine the price where it is today. And talking about being nimble, everyone's laid off. Mine supply has shrunk dramatically. I'm expecting a huge, and by the way, I think the dollar is done. Right, we've had a massive move in the dollar this year. I think the move for next year is kind of going back towards where we were when we started last year. Remember, we started a year ago. The dollar was in the 80s. It's crested here at 97, and I look for a reversal there. We have, we ran all of those Morgan peace dollars at cost and below cost. There's only fragments left, and I want to get rid of them as well. I've got, you know what? Here I hear the music. I'll tell you what we've got. We've only got 2 graded, 1 peace dollar, 1 Morgan dollar, and that's it. Plus these backdate Silver Eagles. $800-951-0592. The Dow's now down 250 and picking up steam. Apparently, there is no deal with China. Larry Kudlow just came out. Matter of fact, said they're less optimistic now that there is no deal. The president did not ask for something to be drawn up. Said that they could be imposing more tariffs. Not as optimistic as before on a deal. So I'm not. I don't know. This is all just breaking right now. The president sounded an optimistic tone this morning, and I don't know if maybe there was a phone call or what, but apparently something's changed. Plus, we had bad numbers out of Apple, and then we had a good jobs number, but kind of taken in context. It was just in line right now. So the Dow's down now 270, 280, picking up steam here. As we watch silver's higher and gold's looking like it's coming back to even as well. Gold's at $1,235 right now. I've got it down 3. I think Kitco's got it down 2. I'm not sure. Gold or silver now $14.80. We got 99 rolls of backdate Silver Eagles at $360. We do have some 2018 Silver Eagles. If you want those, and we can get those in quantity as well. But I know in Colorado we have them live up there at $370. We have, I want to say, 10 MS-64 peace dollars left in between, and I think they're all in Phoenix. Colorado, I think, is out. They're $37. Somebody help me out. Let's get rid of them. That's below cost, $2 below cost on the peace dollars, MS-64 peace dollars at $37. And then we've got 30 of the MS-63 Morgan dollars. And those are at $50. The MS-64 Morgan, I think we're sold out. I know that for a fact. We're out of those, at least in Colorado, and I don't know that I have any either. So we got 3 different silver items, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is, by the way, I don't know if you saw platinum again. Yeah, platinum up another dozen today. I feel very, very strong, and I know I've liked silver for a while, but now I'm real confident. We're getting ready. Little brother's going to make a big move here. Get involved. Rolls of Silver Eagles, $360. The 10 remaining 64 peace dollars at $37, and then we got about 30 of the MS-63 Morgans, and all of those pre-21. All of the Morgans are pre-21s. Every one of them. Matter of fact, I want to say they're all O's and S's, which is the New Orleans Mint, San Francisco Mint, which is like 1880, 1881, 83, 85, stuff like that. Those are at $50. 800-951-0592. We didn't get to a lot of things that I wanted to get to today. It's tough with the Fake News Friday stuff. When we return on Monday, another major U.S. city now joining the likes of Chicago and the state of Illinois, having a seemingly huge pension problem all of a sudden, and now talking about maybe we need to file bankruptcy. I'll tell you who that city is on Monday, as well as bad news coming, layoffs coming now. General Motors announcing that it is going to stop retooling several plants in the United States and is offering buyouts now to over 18,000 people for doing the same thing. We'll bring that all up to speed for you next week. But today, U.S. Silver Eagles, you just heard from the CEO of First Majestic. There's no doubt there's a silver shortage, no matter how you do the math, and he expects a much higher price. 800-951-0592. Take the Radio News Hour. Everybody enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday.